Welcome to this fourth Threads of Faith Bible storytelling. This week we move into the New Testament and look at Jesus in particular, focusing on the bands of linen cloth that were wrapped around Jesus, both at his birth and at his death. Once again, this is a creative retelling that combines these stories together. It was early on the first day of the week when Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James, went to the tomb. They were carrying all of the spices and aromatic ointments that they had prepared before the Sabbath. When they arrived at the tomb, they saw that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. They peeked inside, and there they saw where Jesus' body had been. They saw only the linen cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus. Jesus' body was not there, just the linen. Then there appeared two men in dazzling white clothes. They must have been angels. And they said to the women, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He is not here, he has been raised. Do you not remember all that he said to you in Galilee, how he must suffer, die, and then be raised on the third day?" And in that moment, it all clicked for these women. They each took a glance where Jesus' body had been. They looked at those linen cloths, and they each had a different thought. Mary Magdalene looked at that cloth, and she remembered how after Jesus had died, Joseph of Arimathea, a Jew that she didn't know well, had gone to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Mary had watched from a distance as Joseph carefully took Jesus' body down from the cross, using his own linen shroud to ease the body down. Mary had watched as Joseph carefully wrapped Jesus' body in that linen shroud and then delicately carried him to his own freshly hewn tomb. Mary had watched Joseph place Jesus' body right there. In those moments, as she watched them roll the stone in front of the tomb, she was in despair. She thought that it was all over. But now, could Jesus be alive? Could it really be true? When Joanna took that moment to look over at those strips of linen cloth, she thought back to all of the experiences that she had had with Jesus, how she had listened to him teach and preach and had been awed, inspired, and challenged by everything that Jesus had said. She remembered all of the miracles and the healings that she had watched Jesus perform. And all of that while Jesus was just wearing a simple linen tunic. Jesus didn't dress like those pretentious religious leaders. Those religious leaders whose sermons always fell flat. Joanna remembered how Jesus had said that he was the Messiah. At the time, she hadn't believed him, but if Jesus could be alive, could he also be the Messiah? Could it all be true? And Mary, the mother of James, also the sister of Mary, mother of Jesus, looked over at that linen cloth. And she remembered how her sister had carefully wrapped Jesus when he was a baby, wrapping him in swaddling clothes tightly to comfort him. She remembered looking at Mary, wrapping Jesus up and saying to her, "Mary, you are already a good mother." And Mary remembers hearing Mary, mother of Jesus, tell the story of how those shepherds had come the night that Jesus was born, how those shepherds had said that they had seen angels. And those angels told them to go to Bethlehem and to find a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths and lying in a manger, in a feeding trough. Mary, mother of James, remembered thinking, what an odd way to find this child, because it was so normal for women of little means to wrap up their babies tight and to lay them in a feeding trough. And yet, those shepherds had helped both of these Marys realize how special Jesus was. Mary, mother of James, loved watching her nephew Jesus grow up, following him along the way. And now she wonders how that little baby boy could have changed everything. Could he really be alive? Could it all be true? After only looking at those strips of linen cloth for a moment, then those women ran back to tell the disciples, the 11, about everything that they had seen and heard. But the disciples did not believe them. But Peter, curious as he was, he went out to the tomb and he looked in and he saw those strips of linen cloth. And he wondered to himself, could it all be true? Amen.